What's going on, guys? It's your boy Hammer back with another supplement review, and today I got one that was something very different from anything I've ran all week. Very fresh, change of pace. You know, I talk about a lot of different mechanisms to push down the gas pedal, and this one pushes down the nootropic gas pedal, and it's one of the best to do it. What am I talking about? Well, I got a lift, you got a lift. Let's get down to business. I'm talking about Panda Skull Limited Edition, and man, this was a freaking good one, man. This flavor, first of all, skull candy. I don't know what that means. I didn't Google it and try to find out. I just drank the drink and I freaking enjoyed it. Panda is they're pretty well known for having hitter flavors. Pretty much whatever you get, it's gonna be good. This was no exception. I've had this. I've had the regular skull. And I've had the Panda Rampage, and every single one of them has been hitter flavors. Even when I start playing Mad Scientist and mixing in some stuff, some like extra stims or some extra powders that typically are kind of bitter or acidy tasting, these flavors have always been so strong that it still is a good tasting potion at the end of the day. So let's get started by going down the formula with this one. Like I said, this is a nootropic heavy pre-workout, but that does not mean it's lacking in the other departments, because right off the bat you got 10 grams of citrulline, 5 grams of beta-alanine, and basically after that we're going to get into the stimulant and nootropic package. But when you got 10 grams of citrulline, that is your main driver for pumps. That's going to do the job. When you've got 5 grams of beta-alanine, that's not only going to be enough to give you the lactic acid buffering effects over time, but man, you're going to feel it. You are going to feel it. And when something's not so insanely stim heavy, it's always nice when you got to kick a beta-alanine, so you got to feel it, and you get that kind of pseudo sense of urgency going to the gym. Let's get down to this. You got 3 grams of tyrosine, a gram of choline bitartrate, 600 milligrams of alpha JPC, 500 milligrams of lion's mane. You got 300 milligrams of tiger milk, 200 milligrams of L-Dopa, 100 milligrams of theobromine, 100 milligrams of Kinetic. You got the huperzine in there at 20 milligrams, and then you got the energy matrix, which is going to come down to 400 milligrams of caffeine anhydrous and 100 milligrams of extended release caffeine. So 475 total milligrams caffeine, not blowing your head off with the caffeine. And then the only other ingredient I did not mention, I should have mentioned this is for the pumps. They got Vasodrive at 254 milligrams. So not the craziest dose of Vasodrive, but plenty. When you got that and the citrulline, that is more than going to do the job for the pumps. Like I said, this is not in focusing on the pumps, this is focusing on the nootropic effect. And does it ever give you a good, strong nootropic effect? So, a little bit of background to explain just how well this worked for me today. I slept pretty bad last night. I was sleeping deep, but for some reason I woke up at around 3 a.m. and had to take a middle of the night dump. And if you've ever had to do that, you know, sometimes it's not the easiest to fall back asleep. You can fall back asleep when you just had to pee, but when you had to do number 2, it's hard to go back right to sleep. You know, you're up for a couple minutes. So too much information, but all that being said, I laid in bed for a couple minutes. Then my stomach started growling. I started feeling hungry. And then I picked up my phone and I scrolled a little bit, and then I put it down. And I was honestly sitting there for about 45 minutes debating whether I should get up and just have my first meal and then try to go back to sleep. But I laid there for a while. I finally fell back asleep. But then I woke up around 5:30. I got up, had my breakfast, and I was like, I feel awful. So I went and I took a nap. After my first meal, I napped for maybe 30 minutes, maybe less. And I woke up and I felt even worse. I got up and I looked in the bathroom. My face was swollen. I had bags under my eyes and I felt freaking awful. And I had been planning to run the Panda Skull, and I started thinking, should I shift gears? Should I pivot? Because I felt like I needed something to wake me out of the dead. It wasn't time for my high stim day. It wasn't time for me to pull out the exotics. But I honestly was looking at my shelf. I was like, should I crack open Crack OG? Because I literally felt like I needed something to completely motivate me, light me on fire, wake me from the dead, whatever analogy you want to use. I felt like I was not going to have the gusto, the get up, or the energy to get through this workout on my own. But I said, you know what? Tomorrow is the high stim hitter day. I'm going to do it right, and I'm going to run the Panda Skull. And I took the drink, and within 10 minutes, I took the drink, and then I went to the bathroom. I'm getting ready. I'm washing my face. I'm doing my hair, making myself pretty and beautiful. And I look at my swollen face, but I could feel my head lighting up, and it was like you were turning on the on switch in my brain. I felt clear-headed. I felt extreme beta. I couldn't really tell if it was just beta-alanine tingles or sometimes when you take a really good nootropic formula, you get kind of this body, it kind of starts in your head and it kind of goes throughout your body. I think it was a combo of that, but regardless, what I'm saying is it completely turned me on. It didn't get me hyped and super energetic and buzzed. It did not do that. But it completely washed away that tired, fatigued feeling that I had. Going to the gym, I didn't feel there's no alpha yo in here. 475 is a decent amount of caffeine. There's no way around that. But like I said before, I'm 275 pounds. I got a pretty good tolerance. So that's not a crazy dose to me. And it felt good. But realistically, star of the show is obviously in a product like this, the clean focus, the clear-headedness, and just that feeling of being awake, ready, and aware, aware and able to focus in on what you're doing. So I got in the gym and I had an incredible workout. Today was legs. And, like I said, I did not have that feeling like I had to jump from exercise to exercise to exercise, but I shaved off about 30 minutes because I had such a calm heart rate. I was just doing what I needed to do. No heart rate, crazy elevation, no getting out of breath. I was not moving the, crazy weight PRs. Trust me, your boy Hammer is always lifting crazy weight, but I was doing, my movements and adding, whereas normally, I'm at a point in my programming where I'll add 1 or 2 reps if I'm lucky. I was adding 4 reps to freaking sets. 4 reps. To the same movement I was doing last rotation because my breathing and my heart rate was so freaking relaxed, but I was so focused in. When you have a good nootropic formula, you're able to, it's like they call it motor unit recruitment. It feels like you're able to focus and use every bit of your muscle force when at your control. You're so zoned in, you're so locked in, and like I said, there was my favorite part of this was the fact that I did not feel overly hyped up. I just felt completely awake. The energy was right where it needed to be. This did the job. Like I said, I was like, do I need to take something stronger today? I did not. I took this, it completely did the job. And there was absolutely zero come down because there was no real come up. It never felt like I had artificial energy. It just felt like it took all of my tiredness and fatigue away and gave me just a focus to accomplish my mission. I think the thing with Panda, I feel like they use really good ingredient sourcing. Obviously they use a lot of trademark ingredients sometimes. And it was just a good package that came together right. You've seen crazier doses of some of these ingredients. Sometimes you see products, I have a gram of alpha GBC or 500 milligrams of theobromine. But when you have the right amounts at the right dosages and they just come together to do what you need them to do, you get the experience I had today, which was a very clean, very smooth experience. No drama. And I feel good that I ran this because tomorrow I'm going to hit something high stim. I'm going to hit something illicit and I'm going to feel good about doing it. And no guiltiness, and it's going to hit good because I didn't rely on that today, even though I kind of wanted to. So I don't really know what else to say about this besides it's a freaking hitter. These are the types of products, if you do not have a nootropic hitter in your rotation, you need one. Because here's the thing. 2 days ago, I ran some DMHA pre. I ran OxyStim. So I was pushing down the illicit lever. And then yesterday I ran Ronin, which was freaking awesome, but it's very high stim. That's like 550 milligrams of total caffeine, and then not to mention the yohimbine, the N-methyltyramine, the isopropylsynephrine. It's pushing down the stim lever to the max. And then today I was able to back off both of those levers and just rely on the nootropics to really get me through a great workout without burning out the other levers and pulling those down. So if you do not have a nootropic formula, get one in your rotation. This is a great one to have because you're able to still have an incredible workout without completely burning out your receptors. And now it's like tomorrow, if I wanted to, I could do a yo bomb, I could do an illicit bomb, I could do a dirty bathtub formula like Smash. I feel like I'm primed and ready to do whatever I need to do to have a great freaking workout. This is bordering on a little bit too much to be considered a daily driver for most people because it has that, higher dose of caffeine. I have no problem calling this daily. Like if I wanted to run this 4 or 5 times a week, I would feel fine doing it. I personally don't like to do that because the awesome nootropic effect I get from it, I would like that to hit in its own special way. It's just like if you use any one specific type of product over and over and over again, your body's gonna kind of get desensitized to the effect of it. But that being said, I don't feel like this is so aggressive that you're doing damage to your system by using it multiple times per week. I think it is a very clean formula, hits perfectly, does exactly what I wanted it to do. This gave me such a clear-headed focus. It was bordering on me thinking, like, I came home and I checked the formula again. I was like, man, did that have Araya in it? Because when I first took it, like that clear-headedness that came over me was so freaking perfect that I was really thinking this might have Araya. But that's just like I said, when the formula comes together, it freaking comes together. And Panda Skull Limited came together. This is a great formula. If you want to get this hair, go to nutricartel.com, use your code HAMMER, let them know you're watching the videos, click, share, subscribe, like, click all the buttons, do the things, whatever it means, get me famous on YouTube. But seriously guys, thanks for watching. If there's something you want to see next, comment that below. I appreciate you watching. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at AlexHammerstone. And that's all I got for you today. See you next time for the next supplement review.